I'm your host, Andreas Roell. I'm the president of San Diego Ad Club. And today, I am extremely excited because we are probably having the best advertising campaign and also the funnest advertising campaign that is out there. And it comes right out of our backyard, right here out of San Diego. We have Greg Joumas here, VP of Marketing for Jack in the Box. We all love Jack. We don't have Jack here, but we have Greg here. Greg, welcome.
Great to be here.
We got Jack in the Box, one of the funnest creative campaigns, if you will, out there. And a lot of people love to watch it, feel that it's always something fresh, something new. It's one of those campaigns that has a lot of legs. So what I was hoping is maybe, Greg, you can talk a little bit to us about, what's the strategy behind it, what's your objective, what are you guys up to?
Right. The number, I think there's several things we try to do to keep the campaign, what makes a campaign special and what keeps it special and keeps it going. The campaign's close to 12 years in tenure now, so one of the, I think the cornerstones of it is that we don't look at our advertising competition as QSR. Mm-hmm. We look at our competition in terms of getting people's attention and engaging them with our advertising, which then gives us a pipeline to advertise product messaging to them.
What is then the brand essence behind?
The brand's essence is, you touched upon a little bit, is surprising. We try to do, there's several things. One, we try to really dimensionalize Jack more than you could a real person. Mm-hmm. A shocker, he's not a real person. But
some people do believe though he is.
Yeah, right? Most people do. There's an element of magic with Jack where people, like a magic trick, they know it's a trick, but they suspend disbelief, as they say in magic. Mm-hmm. So they want to believe that the coin disappeared or you pulled an elephant out of somebody's ear. They want to believe that even though they know it's physically not possible to have happened, in magic terms they call it the suspension of disbelief, and that people want to.
That's a fantasy idea.
And we've definitely achieved that with the campaign where, when I talk to people on the streets or people call me or we do research, especially qualitative, people don't talk about an actor with a costume on or anything. They talk about Jack like he's Richard Branson or anybody else. So the great brands figure out different ways to make it through that maze into your special set of brands. And for us, a lot of it's been our advertising. And as of late, probably the last few years, I think we've really come with some really interesting menu items that haven't had to be over-reliant on the advertising to get into people's psyches or in their
consideration set.
Consideration set, exactly.
I'm looking at your category, specifically the restaurant, the fast food category, and there's obviously a campaign that has come up over the last probably 1-2 years now that, in my opinion, has a little bit of a copying effect of what you were the kind of like the leader in this, and suddenly Burger King comes along with the king.
Yeah.
I see a lot of similarities of what they're trying to accomplish with what you've already had accomplished.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for their agency, Crispin Porter Boguski out of Miami. And they're a highly creative agency. They were behind the Mini campaign. Right. They're behind the Truth anti-smoking campaign. So they're kind of they're one of the hot creative shops in the country. The business side of what Burger King was doing and why they hooked up with kind of a fairly experimental out there agency that you wouldn't expect a Burger King or a McDonald's to kind of associate with was that Burger King was in a world of hurt. Their sales had been dropping year after year after year. They were in massive litigation with their franchisee community. So then they were acquired by this group that wanted to clean them up and then sell them. So when that group came in, they wanted to do anything they could to put a fresh face on Burger King. And they were risk takers. They spent billions of dollars buying Burger King. So one of their acts of cleaning it up was, hey, let's do some out there advertising. Let's get our name out there. They've been very active in public relations. I mean, you can barely pick up the paper without Burger King.
Story, yeah.
So it's been a multifaceted thing this owner group did to kind of just make Burger King kind of, rejuvenate it and revitalize it.
So we talked a little bit about the legs of this campaign. Do you foresee this type of, campaign or Jack to be around for a long time?
Yeah, we definitely manage Jack for the long term. We feel there's a Simpson-esque quality about the campaign, and that he doesn't have to age, his kid doesn't have to age, his wife's starting to age, but maybe he can get a divorce, you know, find maybe a replacement one of these days.
Jackie.
So there's, that's why we very carefully manages where he shows up. That's why he's not, you know, doesn't show up in a float or a ride in a parade for the Rose Bowl, or he's not. We really try to treat him as a CEO that makes appearances when for a business reason it makes sense. And then from an advertising perspective, we do a lot of ads that don't even have Jack in them, but people know it's a Jack in the Box ad. And that's because there's something more to Jack than just the physical humor of his head.
And then you see that around at some of those brands, once they've found the gold mine, that they just keep draining it, and it's just...
Yeah, I think, you know, Taco Bell, you know, they had a hit campaign with the dog years and years ago. And they just killed the dog in like a year by just overusing Yo Quiero Taco Bell, and the dog was everywhere, and the dog didn't do anything but walk around and say Yo Quiero Taco Bell. It's like, I think we actually took a lesson away from that, which is that you got to continue to grow Jack and dimensionalize him, and it's a never-ending process, because once you kind of land on a hook and you overuse that hook, people get sick of it and they move on. So that's part of the surprising part of the campaign, which is continually have people. I get a charge when somebody comes up to me when they find out what I do, or I get a letter or an email from somebody and like, I can't believe you did that on TV. Yeah.
And another way to I guess, infuse legs into the campaign is new media, innovative media.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about what you're doing there, because I think there's some cool stuff there.
Yeah, I recently had a lot of analysts come in, and most of them are from the East Coast. We do have to do a lot of educating on what the campaign's about, because they don't see it like you know, people in our market see it. So I always do this little shtick about Jack, and I show ads, and I talk about a lot of things we're talking about here, like why he works. And as TV viewership becomes more fragmented, and it's harder to get big audiences in one broadcast like it used to be when you'd get a 40 share on the MASH. Yeah, so beyond just dealing with media fragmentation on TV, there's a lot of new media happening. There's, you know, there's community places like MySpace.com where you can keep in touch with friends even though you no longer live in your hometown, and there's microsites. Every time you turn around, there's microsites, you know, either for a product or a movie or a person or what have you. And with the younger people living off their cell phones through text messaging, and there's a lot of new things that have been coming up, and we try to be where people are. And part of it, when they're watching TV, we're going to be there. The good thing about Jack is he's fairly extendable into these other mediums. So we've been doing some things like wild postings on construction sites in big markets for new products, kind of stuff that's more guerrilla looking and doesn't have our logo in there, and it's, you know, has Jack being flippant.
Which is nice because it appeals again to the brand.
Right.
I mean, you know, breaking the regular or the mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our commercials, for instance, people don't even notice, but we don't even put our logo in most of our ads, and you wouldn't even notice that.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you'll see, we have like no rule. It's like, I don't know, do we really need to put the logo in here? Jack's been in the spot for like 25 seconds. Do you really need a Jack in the Box logo? I think people got it. Living in, we did a bar media campaign where we did felts on pool tables, we did mirror clings in the men's rooms, and the creative was targeted to who's going to be in that bathroom. So it was about, you know, one of the clings was, you know, why don't you go get 2 tacos at Jack in the Box tonight, because that's a menage a trois that actually is going to happen in your life. Things like that. So we definitely wrote to the medium and who was going to be consuming that particular message. So sometimes on TV it's a salad ad. We know it's, you know, it's for women. Women are a big part of that consumer group that buys that product. You know, we're not as edgy in the ad. And sometimes when we do TV ads that are for our core products that are really male oriented, like our tacos, we push it. And that's when I get the phone calls and the board of directors lean on me like, do you really need to go that far?
So does Jack have a blog yet?
Jack has a blog on MySpace. He's got about 200,000 friends. I think he's had like almost 2 million unique visits to his site. So there's a lot. He writes a blog. I think he posts it a couple times a month. We've been posting content we've produced there. It's not advertising. It's kind of produced for that medium. So it's not typical product advertising you would see. It's more branding and slyly getting through messages we want, but it's not like, hey, go buy a cheeseburger today kind of stuff.
So more being part of the community, which is really the essence of it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, a lot of brands make mistakes where they go into these new media opportunities and they just try to take what they've done in traditional advertising and push it into this. And if you do that, you're really not, you're wasting your money because you're not really taking advantage of being in this space and talking in the vernacular of the people who are there. So you try, it's akin to a 50-year-old guy walking into a teenage high school party, and yeah, he wants to, he maybe listens to the music they're listening to, but he still doesn't quite fit in. So to walk in that room, you kind of got to be like them to walk into that room.
So do we, in the foreseeable future, potentially see a new media campaign for user-generated content where they get the opportunity to manipulate Jack in any way or form?
I'm glad you just mentioned that. We launched a site, microsite called The Jackies. You can get to it from his MySpace, but there was also an interactive click-through component where we did an interactive advertising campaign for it. People can go there. It's called The Jackies. It's kind of like our version of the Oscars. You can create your own content, submit it. If we decide we like it and use it and either repost it on MySpace or on our website or in some of our restaurants that have TVs, we'll give you some money, and but we get to keep the assets. That's how it works.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, almost said Jack again. Thanks, Greg. Thanks for tuning in. Please look out, as always, on the website for any new edition that we're having for the Vchat series. If you have any questions, ideas, or would like me to invite a guest that you think is worthwhile, please send me an email at president@SanDiegoAdClub. And other than that, I hope you enjoy your day. Bye.